Today we're going to multiply fractions. Okay, let's review what our steps for multiplying fractions are. First, you must have two fractions. So you may need to place a 1 under a whole number, or you may need to change a mixed number to an improper fraction. Second, we're going to crisscross simplify and multiply. And then third, we will simplify if needed. Okay, so let's look at our first problem here. We have 1/5 times 1/6. Okay, so we already have two fractions. So now we can see if we can crisscross simplify. There's no simplifying needed on this one, so we can go ahead and multiply. So we have 1 times 1 equals 1. 5 times 6 equals 30. And that is already simplified, so that is my answer. Okay, let's look at our next one. We already have two fractions. So let's see if we can crisscross simplify. Okay, we can't, so we can go ahead and multiply. 2 times 3 is 6. 4 times 5 is 20. Okay, so third step, let's see if we need to simplify. So we're going to ask ourselves if these two numbers can be divided by the same thing, and they can. They can both be divided by 2. So whatever I do to the top, I have to do to the bottom. 6 divided by 2 equals 3. 20 divided by 2 equals 10. So our answer is 3/10. Okay, let's look at our next one. We already have two fractions. So let's see if we can crisscross simplify. We can crisscross simplify our 4 and our 4. Both of those can be divided by 4. So 4 divided by 4 is 1. 4 divided by 4 is 1. So now I can go ahead and multiply. 3 times 1 is 3. 1 times 5 is 5. That is already simplified, so that is my answer. Okay, let's go to our next one. Okay, we have two fractions. Let's see if we can crisscross simplify. We can crisscross simplify our 6 and our 4. Both of those can be divided by what? Well, they can be divided by 2 because they're both even. So 4 divided by 2 equals 2. 6 divided by 2 equals 3. So now I can go ahead and multiply. 2 times 2, 4. 3 times 5, 15. Step 3, let's see if we need to simplify. And we don't. That is simplified already, so that's my answer. Okay, let's look at our next one. We already have two fractions, so let's see if we can crisscross simplify. 4 and 5, 4 and 5. We can't, so we can go ahead and multiply. 4 times 5 is 20. 4 times 5 is 20. Okay, so when we have 20 over 20, we are getting to eat 20 pieces, and there are 20 total pieces in the cake. So that means I'm getting to eat one whole cake. Okay, let's look at our next one here. We already have two fractions. Let's see if we can crisscross simplify. Okay, we can crisscross simplify this 4 and the 6. Because they are both even, they can both be divided by 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 4 divided by 2 is 2. Now I can go ahead and multiply. 4 times 3 is 12. 2 times 5 is 10. Okay, so on this one we have an improper fraction because the 12 is bigger than the 10, which means I'm getting to eat more than what is in my whole cake. So let's go up here to our steps for changing an improper to a mixed number. We're going to divide the numerator by the denominator. Remember, you flip the fraction on its side, and the top dog goes inside the house, and the bottom dog has to stay outside the house. So that's what this looks like. 12 is your top dog. He gets to go in the house. 10 is your bottom dog. He has to stay outside the house. Okay, now we're going to divide. First step goes into. How many times can 10 go into 1? Well, it can't because 1 is smaller. How many times can 10 go into 12? Well, it can go in 1 time. Next step, multiply. 1 times 10, 10. Next step, subtract. Next step, bring down. Well, we don't have anything to bring down. Okay, so let's go to our step 2. Our step 2 says, after you have divided, the whole number sits on the top of the house. So that is my 1. The leftovers are your numerator. That's the 2. Those go over your denominator or the bottom dog. Remember, your bottom dog sits outside the house. So it does not change. It is still the denominator. Okay, so your answer is 1 2/10. And we can even simplify that even more and make it 1 whole and 1/5, because both of these can be divided by 2. Okay, let's do our last one here. We have 2 fractions. Let's see if we can crisscross simplify. We can crisscross simplify this 6 and the 10 because they're both even. They both can be divided by 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 10 divided by 2 is 5. So now I can go ahead and multiply. 8 times 5 is 40. 3 times 9 is 27. So we have an improper fraction again because my 40 is bigger than 27. So I'm going to eat more than what is in my cake. So it's improper. Okay, so our bottom dog goes outside the house. Our top dog gets to go inside the house. First step goes into. How many times can 27 go into 4? Well, it can't because 4 is smaller than 27. How many times can 27 go into 40? 1. 1 times 27, 27. Now we subtract. Borrow from the 10's house. Bring it over to the 1's house. 10 minus 7, 3. 3 minus 2 is 1. So our whole number goes on top of my house. So we have 1 whole, 13 left over, the 27. So our answer is 1 13/27. Okay, so today we reviewed our multiplying fractions. We have to have 2 fractions. And all of those today we had 2 fractions. Then we're going to check and see if we can crisscross simplify and then multiply. And then sometimes we have to simplify after we multiply. Sometimes we have an improper fraction that must be changed to a mixed number. So we divide the numerator by the denominator. Bottom dog goes outside the house and top dog goes inside the house. The whole number sits on the top of the house. My leftovers become my numerator over my denominator, which is the bottom dog.